Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 137 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
We've had a good week this week.
Last week. Yes, the week has only begun, so it might be another good week. We don't know.
Fingers crossed.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So we're going to talk about the Vertu Trophy quarter-final against Bolton, our League One game against Northampton on Saturday. We're also going to look ahead to another double game week in the league, this time against Leyton Orient and also against Mansfield. So that's all quite exciting, isn't it? Bit of admin to do before we start. A few people got in touch, all that sort of stuff. Neil Walker got in touch. He said, on the topic of completing the stand for the under-19s competition, when it's finished, will rugby matches rear its ugly head, gouging our pitch?
I personally hope not.
It's not something I'd thought about, to be honest, until Neil sort of messaged us and said, basically, do you think you're going to get rugby games on this? I doubt it.
No.
I can't imagine it's something they're going to do.
They don't let the women play on there regularly, or the reserves or anything like that. So I can't see them allowing another sport to be played on there. I know obviously they're going to be letting the Wales team play on there. But I think rugby is quite, like you said, gouging out the pitch and stuff like that. I can't see them wanting that to happen.
It costs a lot of money, that pitch as well.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Neil, if I'm honest, I'm a big rugby fan, but I'm not sure I'd want to see rugby there and sort of the damage.
Maybe they only played rugby because obviously we didn't have much money and that brought in more money.
Why? When did they do that?
When they played rugby?
On the racecourse, yeah.
Years ago.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't know they played rugby there.
Yeah, I can't remember who they were.
Oh, I know. Sorry, I know you're talking about rugby league, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I'm very much a rugby union. Rugby league just gets blocked out of my mind.
Yes.
You're talking about the Crusaders, when the Crusaders played there. Yes, I get you. I'm with you now. I'm on the same page. The page was there, and I flipped it, and I'm on the same one as you now. Got it.
So maybe that was because they needed more money coming into
maybe
the club or something. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps.
But I think we're all right now, so I can't see it. And yeah, like you said, the pitch was very expensive. So yeah.
Who knows?
Linda Polly's. Hey, I'm hoping to see this. I'm hoping you see this and can answer or find an answer. I was wondering if there had been any talks of fans being able to purchase bricks for the walkway leading in with name and hometown. I live in St. Louis. Is it Lewis?
Yeah.
I live in St. Louis and it's on my bucket list to get to Wrexham for a game. But having a brick with my name would be something I'd absolutely do. Do you know what? Nothing's been announced yet, but because they've done it on the Macron stand, it's a possibility.
I have heard rumours that not rumours that have come out of the club or anything official, but I have heard rumours of one or two people saying that they were going to do bricks in the same way, like you said, that they've done in the Mould Road. The reason they did it in the Mould Road is they needed the money at the time when they did it.
But I think for prosperity, I think it's a nice thing to do.
I would like, that'd be really.
I would like to have.
Yes, I'd have one. I'd have a couple if you could. One on my own, one as the podcast, one as a family.
So 3 then.
Yeah. Do
you know what I would love, right? And I've said this before on the podcast, but I would love, right? Because obviously we do get celebrities to the racecourse now.
Yeah.
And obviously the Hollywood Walk of Fame have the stars. I would love for there to be dragons, not stars, but dragons on the walkway, the road or whatever leading to the entrance of Ryan Reynolds, maybe his handprints, and then Rob McElhenney, and then maybe as obviously time goes on, we can build it and have like a walk of fame.
I hate that idea.
Well,
that sounds awful.
Okay.
That sounds really horrible. I mean, the abuse. I can just see the abuse now from.
You don't even care about abuse that we get from other fans.
I don't, but I think if we did some sort of Hollywood Walk of Fame leading up to our ground, I think any abuse that we get would be very
Or maybe
warranted.
just Rob and Ryan then.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway.
But they could just buy a brick. Let's let them have a brick.
I don't think they need to buy it, do they? They
No,
own the
probably
club,
not,
so
probably not.
yeah.
A couple of others. We obviously talked about the possibility of a potential change in the club crest, getting rid of the feathers. We had a few messages about this, just picked a couple out. We had Peter. I think the badge thing is something that happens with many clubs because everything gets simplified nowadays. I wouldn't mind only the Dragons. For me, at first glance, from far away, our badge reminds me of Liverpool's, mainly because of the colour pattern. And Christian said, I definitely support dropping the feathers. Quite vehemently says that because he's got 3 exclamation marks after it. I don't reckon it'll happen, though. Interesting one. I think Sian's, you were saying last week you didn't think it would happen. So you're sort of with Christian on that. You don't think it would happen. I don't know where I am. I'm sort of on the other side a little bit. I've got a bit of a feeling that it might, I don't know, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I suppose just to touch on the Super Bowl, we talked about it a little bit last week. I think I triggered a few people talking about the Eagles.
I'm not surprised.
I think a few people were sort of like, yeah, I hate the Eagles. A few people got quite triggered by what I was saying.
I did, and I don't even support any of them.
Just sports banter, that's all. We had an email from Gerard Lederer. He is from Philadelphia. He seemed a little triggered. He went all in on the banter. Wouldn't even. He called you by name.
Didn't even acknowledge Ryan in the email.
No, he did, but he wouldn't call me by name.
That man that I sit next to.
And then he kept calling me like things like that, and the Giants fan and stuff like that, which was quite funny. It did make me laugh. He wanted. The reason I bring it up. He wanted us to play Fly, Eagles, Fly, which is sort of like a bit of a theme tune for the Eagles. Unfortunately, Gerard, there's a copyright issue with that, so I'm not able to play it. That's the only reason. I'm sure I would have played it otherwise, but I'm not able to. So.
And can let's just clear this up.
What?
You do not hate. You may hate the Eagles, but you do not hate people who support the Eagles. Let's just clear that up. Remember, a lot of our listeners are from America.
Look, it's just sport. It's just a bit of banter. That's all. It's like Wrexham and Chester fans, isn't it? You don't necessarily hate the people who. Yeah, do you get me? It's just a bit of banter. It's a bit of friendly fun, I would say.
Yeah, well, I would personally like to say, well done, Eagles.
No.
Ryan didn't even finish watching the whole thing because
I wasn't going to say that because that's quite a damning indictment of how well the Eagles won, I think, because I got to a point. I made it quite far through, and
came to bed at 3:00 in the morning.
A bit later, a little bit after that. I got to the fourth quarter. And I just went, nah, do you know what? It's just not for me. It wasn't because I was tired or anything like that. I was there for the whole game. And I got to the fourth quarter and I just went, do you know what? It's not for me this year. I'm gonna head off to bed.
It's not like a Wrexham game where you never ever leave a Wrexham game early because they were not coming back from it.
Oh, this was over. This was over very early on.
Yeah,
this was, and it was like I knew what was coming, but I was waiting for some sort of miracle for the Chiefs to come back, and it didn't happen. So anyway.
Yeah. So Sam Smith, he won his first League One goal of the. Sorry, he did score on Saturday, but he actually won. Not for Wrexham, may I add. He won the EFL League One goal of the month for January when he was playing for Reading, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was.
But he took the trophy in his Wrexham shirt. So
No, it wasn't in his Wrexham shirt.
was.
No, he wasn't.
It was the day of the Bolton game. There was a picture.
The picture I've seen of him with the trophy in the stands, he's just wearing normal clothes.
Oh, I thought it was the Wrexham.
No, so he is in the Wrexham stands.
Oh, okay.
But I just wondered whether we could claim this. Is this another Wrexham player who's won goal of the month? Because technically, it's a Wrexham player who has won goal of the month. Paul's won it for his goal against Blackpool on Boxing Day. Now Sam's won it. He's a Wrexham player. So can we claim this as ours?
I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure either. I don't think we can claim it.
No.
But well done.
Congratulations.
Well done to Sam all the same. We'll have to touch on Elliot a little bit because he had...
He was MIA on Saturday, and this is the reason.
Yeah, he had. So I hope this isn't going to be a bit of a trend amongst Wrexham players, but he had a car crash after the
Bolton game.
Yeah, after the Bolton game, he was going home. Slightly different to Jimmy. There was another car involved as well. I think both people involved were taken to the hospital for precautions, but I think they're all good. So yeah, it was. I mean. I hope this isn't going to start happening. I can't remember the last time anything sort of serious happened. I can't remember last time anything serious happened to a Wrexham player, sort of outside of football sort of
injuries.
thing. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, two of our players have car crashes in the space of a couple of weeks.
Do you know what? There was a post on, I think his name was Craig, who posted it. Sorry, apologies, I can't remember his surname, but he basically posted Wrexham vacancy, driving instructor.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, hopefully that's it. Done and dusted.
We don't. In threes, though.
Oh, don't say that. God, you don't want that. But interestingly, obviously, he was. We will talk about the Northampton game, obviously, but he was missing, like you said, on Saturday. Did you feel that we played a bit better without him?
We played really well on Saturday, so I don't know whether that's because he wasn't there or I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it?
It's very hard to tell because, you can't compare apples for apples because you'd have to watch a game one week where Elliot played and then a game the next week where Elliot doesn't play and sort of compare and contrast the two, but which we don't have. Yeah, it's weird, but I did... like you said, I thought we played really well on Saturday, and it was just an interesting one. That the way we set up, I'm not a massive fan, as I've said on many occasions, of James playing alongside Dobson. I'd like one either or sort of thing, one or the other. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we looked good, and I don't think we even got into sort of fourth gear on Saturday. I think we were very comfortable, and yeah, interesting. I don't know. I'm not saying we played better because he wasn't there, but he wasn't there and we did play better. And that might just purely be a coincidence. Might be the opponents, might be numerous things, but yeah, just an interesting one, really.
It's interesting. So we've had a message from Andy Hanson. Just wanted to let you know that I love your podcast and listen in every week. Thank you. My take on the team is that I hope we stay in the fight for auto promotion, but fear our form might slip the second half of the season due to our lack of ability to create and finish good chances. I'm assuming this came before Saturday's game. It
did. I was going to say before I read it out that this did come sort of last week. This was so yeah.
Barring a catastrophe, we should get in the playoffs, no problem. Playoffs will be exciting and scary at the same time. Really hoping we can make a push for a strong push for auto promotion. Concerns for the second half of the seasons are our struggles against top 10 teams, inability to take advantage of dominant play / create good chances, and that we only have 9 home games and 13 away. Hoping we can avoid a slide to keep us in the mix for the top 2. But we only have 12 away games.
Yeah, so like I say, this was before. So yeah, it was. I put this in because I thought it was a good chance for us now to sort of look and sort of how do you feel like you're looking at the remainder of the season ahead of us. You can see where we are in the league. You can see where everybody else is, and what points they're on, what points we're on. In your gut now, if you had to throw it out there, for a position that we're going to finish, where do you think we're going to finish?
It changes every week for me. It's one of those things where you and ah every week. I think at this moment in time, this could change after Tuesday and Saturday next week. But at this moment in time, I do think that we're 1 point behind Wycombe at this point. At this point in time.
I think we're 2, but go on.
No, I'm sure we're 1.
Might be 1. I don't know. It's in the notes later on.
Maybe I looked at after our game and they hadn't
I'm
played.
not sure.
Anyway,
we'll have to have a look in a bit, yeah.
2-1. It doesn't matter. I think Wycombe hopefully and possibly will start slipping. And I think we'll creep back up to second place. I'm under no illusion. We've said it before, and we're not even going to discuss Birmingham anymore because I think they're on like 66 whatever points. And I think they are a shoo-in for promotion, But I think we have a good chance to get into second. And, that's how I feel on this day.
At this moment.
But ask me the same question on our podcast next week and it might differ.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yeah, at the moment, I think we're in for a good chance. We haven't slipped from third for a while, so
I'm going to go with you. I think we'll finish second. I think based on what I saw on Saturday, if that can be our away performance
for the next 12 games,
for the next however many away games, I think we've got a really good chance. And I think the front line that we're using now, compared to what we were using and using Elliot in that stupid false 9 and all that sort of stuff, I genuinely think we've got a really good chance for second. If that is the level of performance that we're going to put in away from home. Because like he says, we do have more away games than we do have home games. If you look at it a couple of weeks ago, you'd sort of go, that's a nightmare because we're terrible away from home. We're maybe not terrible, but we're not great away from home.
We're not scoring many goals.
No, if we can do what we did on Saturday, I genuinely think, I'm like you, I think Wycombe might slip a little bit. They've started dropping points here and there, but we haven't really been able to capitalise.
We've still got to play them away.
Yeah, we've still got to play them as well, which is turning into a huge game, I think that is now as we're going on. I very much felt that Huddersfield were going to make a charge.
Yeah.
And they were going to, maybe we were going to end up in third, and they were going to be the ones that ended up in second. But that hasn't happened.
Stockport have overtaken Huddersfield now.
Yeah, exactly. And, Huddersfield they've really struggled in the last few weeks. They did win on Saturday, but prior to that, they hadn't really won many in their last sort of 5 and 6. If they'd won any, I'm not sure, really.
We have to play them as well.
Away, yeah, I know. So yeah, I'm sort of with you. I'm confident after Saturday that second is achievable. I think for me, but like you say, a week. If we're sitting here next week and we've lost to Leyton Orient and we've lost to Mansfield, it's going to be a completely different story. If we've won both of them games and put in a strong away performance at Mansfield, then I'm all in again. Yeah, pushing all my chips into the middle of the table, and I'm like, yeah, definitely automatic promotion. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Pushing my chips to the middle of the table. Never heard that.
No,
you come up with some bizarre
It's just it's a poker term. So you got all your chips. Poker. You got a really good hand. You're pushing them all in. You're going all in.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. I feel like I teach you some good stuff. Away from that, I don't teach you anything about football, but outside of football, some decent phrases you can take forward. And maybe use them. No, I know you don't.
Never do. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by visiting our Buy Me a Coffee page, and it is buymeacoffee.com/me the wife. Banging.
Look, fancy EFL update.
Have you found out who C. Williams is yet?
No, C. Williams,
Please get in touch.
Please get in touch. I don't want to be calling you C. Williams every single week.
We don't know whether you're a Mr. or a Mrs.
No, we haven't got a clue. And we did have this issue last time.
And it was a woman. Wasn't it a woman?
We kept on saying, oh, maybe it's this or maybe it's that, and then she messaged us going, actually, it's this, and yeah. So anyway.
We don't want to be presumptuous.
No, we don't. First is Ben Parker. Second, C. Williams. Third, Ian Dougal. Same as last week. Christian had a bit of a meltdown. He messaged me.
I was in work when these messages were coming through, and I was just like...
He said, I'm done with it. I'm not doing it anymore. He goes, I missed the deadline again. And I messaged him, but I could have just let it ride, to be honest, because I knew the deadline hadn't gone, because I'd just been on my team, and I was looking about what changes I was going to make. But I was nice. I messaged him back and I was going, the deadline hasn't gone. So for anybody playing Fancy EFL, I'm pretty sure the deadline is kickoff. So as soon as your player starts playing, that's it. They're locked in for the week. But I'm pretty sure you can make changes all the way up until they start playing. Or maybe an hour before they start playing. I'm not sure. But as long as they haven't played a minute of football, you can change. So... Christian sort of went, oh yeah, okay, I've changed it now. So I am catching him though. It's getting close now. I think I'm only 18 points behind him. So I'm not even thinking about the top three anymore. I just want to be Christian.
I would like to put it out there. Let's do a competition between you and Christian, because it's very...
There is already a competition
between me
and Christian.
But I think what we should do is... we should have a think about what we should do if either of you...
I thought you'd already thought about it when you said it then.
But I do
think... What we should do is... I don't know what we should do.
I think, Christian, if you've got any ideas of what... No running naked around the racecourse or anything silly like that, because that's something that I do not want to see.
Christian's not going to do it, because Christian's not going to come up with anything, and I'll tell you for why, because Christian's on the slide. And I'm after him, and he's very much convinced that I'm going to overtake him. So he wouldn't throw anything bad out there, because I think secretly he knows I'm going to beat him.
Oh, do you know what?
Look, let's talk about Bolton. Vertu Trophy. Yeah. So we had Arthur in goal, Lewis Brunt, Dan Scarr, Tom O'Connor, Longman. You're a bit of a fan of Longman, aren't you? You think he plays quite well when he comes on.
I do.
George Evans, which I thought George Evans played well, to be fair. Andy Cannon, Elliot Lee before his crash. Seb, Rayvon, Jack Marriott and Mo Farl. We had McNicholas on the bench.
I was quite surprised about that.
Now, I was wondering a little bit about this. I'll talk about it now. I was going to talk about it during the Northampton game because, spoiler alert, Chomp was in goal for the Northampton game, wasn't he? And it wasn't Arthur.
But Arthur was on the bench.
Arthur was on the bench. And I just wondered a little bit because I was quite surprised, similar to you, because Burton is injured at the moment. That's why he's not. That's why he's not in the team. I sort of wonder if Arthur's maybe got one or two little issues with his wrist still. I know he's played, but it just seemed... I don't know if McNicholas was recalled.
Because of that reason.
Because of Arthur's... Arthur's wrist isn't quite 100%. Or whether it's just because Callum Burton was injured and they wanted that third goalkeeper in. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's an interesting one because obviously we are chopping and changing a little bit at the moment. Arthur seems fully fit, but then I did sort of sit back and wonder whether he is fully fit or not, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm honest. Jan went to the game without me. Again. She says so whenever she goes to games. You've been to a few of the Vertu trophies and I haven't because I've been working. Sian is always, I hate going to games without you. In basket, proceed to payment. And it's like going, I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
One of us have to represent the podcast, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. I'm not. I think the ones that really hit hard is when whenever there's a league game on Tuesday and I'm working, I tend to book a half day so that I can go to the games. It doesn't really sort of come up that I can't book time off during league games, weirdly. But for the 2 Vertu Trophy games, sort of like the Bolton one, what was the one before that you went to as well? I can't remember. Anyway, and it's going to be the same for the next game as well, where I'm working and I'm unable to book time off.
Yep.
Which is a bit of a kick in the nuts, I suppose. But it is what it is. But if I have to miss games, I think I'd rather it be the Vertu Trophy than it is the league. So I'll take that. You know,
we didn't sit in our normal seats, and I did not like it.
No, you're a bit further up, weren't you?
Yeah, we were still in PG5 where we sit for league games, but we were in row I, pretty much the same seat numbers though, which was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Steve, who I work with, he sits in kind of that area for league games, and I was talking to him in work the next day, and I was just like, nah, don't know how you do it. Don't know how you sit there. Like the walkway, it's petty little things why I don't like sitting there, but I could literally see our season ticket seats below us.
Yeah.
And I was just like there was 2 men sitting in your dad's and your seat, and then there was a little boy sitting in Alfie's seat, and then there was a few other people, and I was just like. I was like, I want normal seats, and I don't like it. And but it was nice to get a different perspective.
I don't think you've massively got a different perspective, though. You've just sat a little bit further back.
Higher?
Yeah, I know, but not massively. We sit right in the front, don't we? We're row C, so we're not like sort of row A or row B, obviously, but which is what you would classify as right in the front. But we are the 3rd row. And, you know, we like that sort of pitch level view and that's what we've been used to for years.
I like the fact that we've got the bars behind us as well. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I like to rest my head on it when there was just things that I couldn't do that I would usually do at a league game. So
look, me and my dad, when we used to go, we used to sit where you sit, we used to sit further up again, sort of like a bit of a higher up view. And I think if you'd have sat back there, you might have had a very different perspective of the game. But there's not, you know, since you've started coming, there's not been many times where we've sat anywhere else. I think the one game I do remember is the Dover game. In the second half, when we were shooting towards the tech end.
Because we'd done hospitality tickets, hadn't we?
We had hospitality tickets, so we sat in the hospitality seats, which are over on the left-hand side of the Mould Road. So we had a perfect view right across into the box of all the goals, which was really good. The downside of sitting on one side of a stand is that when they're shooting up the other end, you're really far away. But what we did is we switched to the middle, to our seats, didn't we? For that, when we were shooting that way. Yeah. But anyway, we're waffling on now. But yes, so there was only 2 stands open. Initially, yeah. And then the last minute, the club went, oh, we're going to open the tech end. We're going to release some tickets. I just think the club did it too late.
And I think they only opened the lower tier. I think what they should have done is they should have filled like the whole sections first.
Yeah, maybe. But I think, because they just released sections at a time, didn't they? And then I think if they'd have done it in more time, they might have filled more of that stand. But, you know, they didn't. And I think possibly that had I've seen a few people say that had quite a detrimental effect on the atmosphere.
The Bolton fans, to be fair to them, were loud.
Yeah.
They were. And, you know, there was, I can't remember the attendance now, but there was like, you know, we were trying to...
I think they had did they have 1,200 tickets?
I think they fully sold out.
They did, they completely sold us.
So I think there's about 1,200 in that section.
I can't remember, that. But yeah. But I did see people saying there was a lack of atmosphere. In fairness to the tech end, a lot of the atmosphere during games does come from that end of the ground.
It
does. So, you know, and obviously they're right by the away fans, and you can sort of bit of banter back and to between the away and the home fans, but you just had a very small section next to
who maybe don't usually sit in the tech end.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was one of them. fair to say it was all Bolton first half?
I was worried first half.
Yeah.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, they had a chance right at the start, which Arthur saved well. One right at the end, which Arthur saved quite well. Obviously, with me being in work, I use something called SofaScore to sort of look, and that gives you the sort of momentum of play. And it's sort of like a graph. If the graph goes up, it's the home team that are sort of in the ascendancy and they've got the momentum. If it goes down, then it's the away team. And it was basically the top's green, the bottom's blue, and it was just all blue for the first half. So I was like, oh, I think they're up against it here. It was 0-0 at half time. You said you were a bit worried, but
I was glad. If I was worried, but I was glad it was 0-0. If it was going to be anything,
0-0, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take 0-0. Yeah, I was quite happy with that. I was getting a bit like, oh God, this is going to be a disaster. But let's talk about the second half.
So it sort of started similar to the first half, really.
Yeah.
And
I kept saying, can I just say before we talk about the goal, I kept saying to my mum, right, Parky needs to make some changes. Andy Cannon needs to go off.
Is that what you were saying? How dare you?
I know.
But that sort of happens in football, doesn't it? You're going, why is he? It's like what I said. I think it was before the Shrewsbury game. I was banging on about, look, Stephen Fletcher can't start games. I would never start Stephen Fletcher. Next game, he scores. Early on and so it happens like that sometimes.
Horses for courses. Is that the right saying?
That is a saying.
Whether it's,
I'm not sure it fits in to this scenario, but yes, yeah. See, you're saying that in a couple of weeks you'll be saying I'm pushing all my chips in. I can guarantee you.
I can guarantee you I won't.
Look, Andy Cannon popped up. 70th minute, I think it was. Great ball from George Evans. That's what you want to see. From your deep lying midfielders, you want to see a sort of midfield splitting pass. He took out two of the Bolton midfielders, ball right through the middle of them, Andy in space. Andy sort of went, right, positive, let's go, dribbled, cut inside, took two of their defenders out, had a shot. I was a little confused by the keeper because
yeah, we all were.
It wasn't what you would call a rocket.
No.
And he just didn't move. It was.
Sort of
I wouldn't say it wasn't slow.
No.
But
it wasn't unsavable, I don't think.
I'm not sure it was. No, but he was very rooted. And I said we were talked about this after. I think I was talking with our son and you as well. And I said sometimes, if a keeper's sort of judging where it's going to go, he'll put his weight on one side, and then when his weight goes to one side and it goes the other way, he sort of gets a bit stuck because all of his weight's going one way and it maybe doesn't move. I'm not even sure he did that, really. I don't know if he was a little bit unsighted. It was just a bit odd. I thought to not even attempt. Yeah. I thought was strange, but it is what it is. It went in the corner, and 1-0 up. Obviously, Sam and Jay got a little bit of a run out in the game as well.
I'm going to push all my chips in the middle of the table, and I'm going to say, that goal, goal of the month
for Wrexham.
Yeah. Or the Vertu goal of the month, or what? I don't know if they do a separate one, but
I'll be honest with you. I haven't got a clue what the other goals that were scored in the Vertu Trophy were. So, let's go with that. Let's go with that without any idea of what the other. Someone might have scored a 40-yard worldie for all I know. But no. So we were through to the semi-finals. A little bit nervy, a little bit edgy towards the end. We now play Peterborough on Wednesday, the 26th of February. Another game I can't go to, unfortunately. Sian will be going. Yeah, she hates going without me, but she's going. The other semi-final is Birmingham-Bradford. Birmingham obviously at home in that one. Look, if the game was played on paper, you would assume it's going to be a Wrexham-Birmingham final. But the game isn't played on paper. You could very easily, knockout football is so unpredictable, you could easily get a Peterborough-Bradford final. You just don't know when it comes to knockout football. But are you excited by the possibility, I'm not, don't don't please Peterborough fans, don't start shouting at me. I know we've got another game. I'm just saying, are you excited about the possibility of going to Wembley again?
Yeah.
Because you've only been once.
Yep. I had the best day.
Yeah, it was great.
I know the result wasn't what we wanted.
No.
But I had such a great day, like travelling down. Obviously, we got stuck in traffic. It was a nice, warm day.
Yes.
The atmosphere was amazing. You know, my brother was there. You were there, obviously. Alfie was there. You know, and I think the only reason why Alfie would go again is for that massive box of popcorn that he had when we were there.
And I'll tell you something now. I don't think I've told you. He's not fussed about going. He doesn't think he wants to go. He'd go if we were staying over and staying in London for a couple of days, but I'm not sure he wants to go.
Oh, okay.
So
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about going to, you know, the possibility. You know, we've got to get through Tuesday first.
Wednesday.
Oh God, yeah, Wednesday. But you know, Wednesday the 26th, not Tuesday, not Wednesday coming up, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think if we play like we did against Bolton, then, you know, there's a very possible chance that we will go to Wembley. But, you know...
Maybe not the first half, eh?
No. Let's play how we played in the second half of the second half.
Very small portion of the second half. Let's do that.
Yeah, and then we should be good.
Yeah, look, Neil Hayes said, all the changes don't help the cohesion of the team, and we struggled first half as a result. We only got going after the 4 changes and then got going a bit better. Rodal Locker's Bolton had some very good chances. Great goal from the Lion King. He rarely lets us down. Onwards towards Wembley. Yeah, fingers crossed. Look, Northampton.
Yes, so this is our first league game for like 7 years.
2 weeks, yeah.
It feels like so long. I mean, obviously, I was at the racecourse last Tuesday for the Vertu Trophy game.
Yeah.
But it feels like such a long time since we've been there for a league game. So Tuesday night, we are playing Northampton. No, we're not. Oh my God, what am I doing?
On Saturday, we played Northampton. Look, and
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are. It was, like Sian says, it was our first league game for 2 weeks. Mark Howard.
I always manage to cock something up in this podcast, don't I?
I don't know where you're going with that. You're sort of going, so we are playing Northampton.
I know.
But we have.
Then I looked at it and I went, but we played Southampton on Saturday. What's happening?
Southampton?
No, oh, for God's sake. You crack on.
Yes. Look, Mark Howard.
Take 7.
So yeah, sort of kept his place. Mark did. So Mark played in the last league game that we played.
That was because Arthur was injured, wasn't it?
I don't know. I can't remember because I lose track.
Yeah.
So Mark sort of kept his place from the last league game we played, even though there have been 2 Vertu Trophy games in between that where Arthur played. So I was a little bit confused why he was coming in. I think, if I'm going to be honest, I think the one problem that Arthur's got is communication. I've said this before, I'm saying it again, and I might say it again in the future. Chomp's very good at communicating with his defence, and I'm not sure Arthur's there yet with communication, shouting, making sure. When you're standing on the when you're sitting on the sidelines watching a game, what you want to hear when they're in your half and they're passing it around, you want to hear your goalkeeper barking at the defence. That's what you want. Look, there, this is happening. Pull in, drop in there. Whatever it is, that's what you want to hear. And you just don't hear that from Arthur. And there's been a couple of instances where we've nearly fallen foul of no communication. You know, there was one, I think it was in one of the Vertu Trophy games a while ago. Or no, it wasn't. It was the Stevenage game where Dan Scar's looking at the ball. It's dropping. It's going over his shoulder. He goes to head it back, and it nearly goes past Arthur because Arthur's coming as well. But Dan doesn't know where Arthur is. So what Dan is relying on is Arthur screaming at him, telling him, I'm coming. Leave it. Whatever it is, he needs to communicate that. And I think that's maybe his downfall sometimes. Why this happened on Saturday, I don't know. But it did. So, you know, Mark was in and, you know, we just have to roll with that. Sam and Jay were obviously up front. No Mullin and Palmer in the squad at all. We obviously know that Paul's got a little bit of a...
Palmer was there, though.
He was there. He was warming up and stuff like that, but he wasn't in the matchday squad. We obviously know Paul had a bit of a shin scan. He's got a little bit of an issue with his shin at the moment. That's why he wasn't there. But who would have thought? Who would have thought? Go back 12 months, and, if someone would have said, oh, guess what? This time next year, Mullin and Palmer won't even be in the matchday squad. You'd have gone, what? Yeah, I mean, it would have blown your mind a little bit. And then that's how quickly football moves and evolves. And
how fickle it is.
It's just a case of, you just got to keep getting better, haven't you? And things move on. I do think Paul has a huge part to play in this season, though. And I think he's going to pop up with a few important goals here and there.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I do. I genuinely do. I think he's got a big part to play. And I would love to see him, last game of the season, we're pushing for that top 2 and we've got to win. I wouldn't put it past him to be the one who pops up and scores. You know what I mean? Or just in an important game. If we end up in the playoffs, the goal in the last minute that puts us into the final or gets us promoted, I would not put it past him to be the one to do that. So I do think he has still got a big part to play.
No pressure, Mullin.
Yeah, but is that going to be a week in, week out thing? I'm not sure at the moment. I'm not sure. Well, look, we persisted with James and Dobson in the middle. Look, it is what it is. For me, it's either or, but I'm not the manager. And what do I know? But my opinion, if it was me picking the team, I would pick one or the other. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be picking both of them.
Dobson, I pick,
because it almost becomes like a double pivot in the middle, which I don't know. I'm not sure that. Yeah, and anyway, I'll move on. Do you think Andy would have been disappointed not to have a spot though? He was on the bench, wasn't he?
He was.
After playing in the Vertu game and scoring the winner, do you think maybe he might have been, I'm going to get in, especially with Elliot being out?
I don't know, really. I think.
But having said that, I did write this note. And then you sort of said to me he didn't play that well for the sort of first hour, and then popped up with a goal. So maybe he wouldn't have been that disappointed because maybe he would have been a bit critical of his own performance on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. O'Connell instead of Scar?
Yes. Come
on. No, come on. Get it out.
I don't know.
This is a safe place.
With Scar. See, I'm a bit. I love O'Connell. I think he's great, but he has made a couple of banging mistakes. Not just little. He has made a couple, in the box as well. That has caused us to concede.
Shrewsbury mainly, I think, and Barnsley as well.
So too, yeah. Which it resulted in us conceding goals. So. I was a bit like when I don't know. It's such a I like Dan Scar and I like Owen O'Connell, but Owen O'Connell for me is an OG. So it's like,
difficult. Yeah, National League, wasn't he? We signed him in National League.
So it's like, there's not very many OGs that I've got left now.
Well, he wasn't technically OG for you either because we signed him, I think we signed him in January. So he would have come in a bit after you started coming.
But I'm used to him. I was used to watching him play. I think we can classify
an OG for you as anybody who played for us in the National League.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
So but I think Dan Scar, he's brilliant in the air, and then O'Connell, but not so good with the ball at his feet. Whereas I think O'Connell is like the other way.
I don't know. I think Dan's got some, ball playing skills. I think he is comfortable with the ball at his feet. I do agree. I think Owen's better with the ball at his feet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Owen maybe lacks a little bit of pace, and I do worry sometimes about balls in behind him. If you've got a nippy little striker, I do worry a little bit about if he is isolated with that striker, which shouldn't really, with three at the back, that shouldn't really happen. But if he does get isolated, I do worry. I saw a few balls in behind on Saturday where he sometimes looks like he's just running in mud, that he is a little bit slower than everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know how much quicker Dan is, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Dan's a little bit more no-nonsense. It's a difficult one. And I think you could debate this for quite a long time, but I think whichever
just
one
an hour
of
podcast.
Yeah, it's just an hour. So I'm not sure. But it was fairly even early on. I think Kevin Nolan has come into Northampton, and he has very much made them look more solid in a short period of time. That being said, we had a long ball over the top from Mark. Sam running in behind. Great finish from Sam. And that was 1-0. And that sort of exposed a few frailties in defence. My comment about them looking more solid very much is true for the last couple of games and up until the point when we scored our first one. They looked extremely shaky for the rest of the game after that. I think it was only, 3 minutes later that Ollie popped up.
I love
and, he sort of on his chest. I think he was possibly lucky to get through. Again, poor defending. He probably shouldn't have even got as far as he did. Swung a leg at it off the post. That was 2-0. And it was just like that. Not out of nowhere, because we were certainly pushing.
Yeah.
But I think, I do like it when a keeper gets an assist. I was watching Match of the Day on Saturday. Edison's assist on Saturday, and some of Edison's assists are ridiculous. I'm not putting Mark in that bracket, but I did see something on X, courtesy of the Wrexham Lowdown on X, said that we are now currently, stat-wise, with a team in League One with the most accurate long balls. Who would have thought, that we were good at playing long balls?
Yeah.
But I think I liked Sam on Saturday. It felt like, I choose my words carefully, because I don't want to sort of say anything bad about, the team that we had just before what we've got now. Sam feels like a little bit of an upgrade, though. His runs in behind, his runs in the channel, the way that he carries the ball, the way that he holds the ball, his finishing just feels like
Championship level?
It's so hard to say, because it's, possibly from what I've seen so far, but players do struggle to make that step up. And players that you don't think will make that step up, all of a sudden they come into their own, and they're a player who maybe doesn't get many games in one league, and then they go up a league, and then all of a sudden they're like in their prime.
The
and
dogs.
It's the what?
The dogs.
Oh, the dogs. I thought you went good dogs, and I didn't know what that meant. Yeah, and so it is really hard to say, but it just feels like a bit of an upgrade. It was a good
goal, to be fair.
It was, it was a really good finish.
Start to finish.
I'm happy for him to get his first goal as well, get off the mark, because I think the first goal's the most difficult. Ollie, obviously, or Lolly, shall we say?
Lolly.
Obviously, nearly made it 3. I think McLean hit the post direct from a corner. Ended up with Rathbone, he sort of swiveled and sort of hit it just wide. I think in time-honoured Wrexham fashion, we then just sort of slowed down a little bit. And I think that's one of the things that is to our detriment at times, where teams get a bit of up a bit of a head of steam, and they start coming back at us and back at us and back at us. But we got to half-time, it was still 2-0. Rodriguez almost got his first goal just after half time. I'd like to see him get off the mark as well. Yeah.
It would have been nice to there's 2 new strikers to get their first goal.
But I think it all seemed quite comfortable for us for large periods. It was. I think. You always risk getting a little bit lethargic in that sort of scenario, but Northampton had a couple of decent breaks maybe, but they didn't really seem to have anything at the end of it. I don't think they had one shot on target in the whole game, and maybe it would have been different you know, for a team, another team, and yes, you have a little look. Look, Fletcher came on for Rodriguez. Jack Marriott came on for Sam Smith.
I saw Stephen Fletcher coming on.
Yeah.
Didn't see a Marriott coming on or Longman.
No.
I was a bit like, when did they appear?
I think the thing is as well is how it appears to other teams sometimes, where you're starting a game with Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith. And then on the hour or on 70 minutes...
No, they didn't have any shots on target.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, they didn't.
And then you are bringing on Stephen Fletcher and Jack Marriott. And I think that just sort of... That's a moment that was for me on Saturday where I sort of go, God, we got some players we have. Mm-hmm. You know, and the game sort of got a bit scrappy towards the end, maybe. Max had a little tussle. I like that. I like seeing that, a bit of aggression from Max, because they were sort of, Max gave him a little slap on the chest and the lad grabbed him and sort of
spun him round,
but Max was like gripping him as well, and I think they both got booked in that. But like,
yeah, they did.
I think maybe that might be one little thing that might be missing from Max's game. Just from time to time, a little bit more puff your chest out aggression sort of thing.
To be fair to him, he did play really well against when we played Birmingham at home. I thought he was, you know, he definitely held his own on that pitch. Maybe not aggression-wise,
yeah,
but definitely he held his own in you know.
I think I liked seeing that, because I think it was sort of like that. I think, I'm not saying that it's something that's missing from his game. I'm just saying I'd just like to see him be a bit more at times, especially at home, just a bit more aggressive, you know. Sorry, I nearly pushed you off your chair. Look, simple day for Mark. It was sort of like a gentle meander to full time.
The commentators, because obviously it was on Sky, the commentators, but it was Northampton's commentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, weirdly, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought Sky would do their own commentary. By the by, they said that they've hardly mentioned Mark Howard's name because they've not needed to.
Yeah, which they sort of said was a damning indictment of how they'd attacked in the game. Yes. I definitely think they've got the right pieces, maybe Northampton, but maybe they just need to work out the jigsaw a little bit better. I think Kevin Nolan's done a good job with them in a short time, and I think they'll do all right. I think, if I'm honest. Man of the match.
I'm going to go with... See, I should go with Andy Cannon for scoring the goal, but I'm going to go...
We've moved on. This is Northampton now. Are you having some sort of meltdown again? Andy Cannon didn't...
Oh, Christ.
Right, do you want to start that again? Take two, go. Have you got a man of the match, Sian?
I'm going to go with Sam Smith because he scored the goal. But if I could give two, Ollie Rathbone all day long, because he just doesn't. His little legs. He's not the tallest guy in the world.
No, he's not.
But he never ever gives up. He just runs and runs and runs and runs. So Sam Smith, because obviously he scored a cracker of a goal, but I think Ollie Rathbone for pure, like...
I am 100% with you. I think if I was being subjective and sitting back, I'd probably give it to Lolly. But I think just for... I'd probably give it to Sam. If I'm not giving it to two. If I was sitting there as an absolute, sort of middle of the road, just not a Wrexham fan, not a Northampton fan, I'd give it to Ollie Rathbone. But just a little bit of sort of like the romantic in me, I think I would give it to Sam Smith, because I thought he was very good.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking that away from him.
The stuff he does off the ball is really good as well, and I am quite excited to see how sort of Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith develop as a partnership, because I think there's a few instances where one maybe doesn't know what the other one's doing at the moment, which is to be expected. And I think once they get a little bit of sort of cohesion and they're playing together more, I think they will be a top quality partnership. Yeah, 3 away wins in a row now. All right, if we include the Vertu Trophy one, but still 3 away wins in a row, and long may that continue, I think, for me. Martin Bradshaw, team selection was spot on. Rathbone, Smith, Rodriguez seem to have a great understanding between them. Think we have a good enough squad to push for auto-promotion. Maybe, Martin? We will see.
Ben Parker, intensity from the start was amazing and set the standard for the rest of the game, which was amazing. Lolly was great yet again, and the attacking runs from Smith were a breath of fresh air.
Definitely. 2 J's here. JB, crisp passing, more first ball wins, and lads in spaces to get scoring opportunities. Well done. And also Jay up at Eastside Hawk said Mark Howard had little to do. Another clean sheet. Our intensity in the first half was fantastic. I'm loving Rathbone and Dobbo in the midfield. That's the same one as last. Sorry.
Steve Hayes, good 3 points away. Chomp had little to do, but distribution was good, and always vocal deserved a clean sheet. Up the S-Town.
Up the S-Town.
Can't say the S.
Look, Saturday roundup, Birmingham 1, boring, move on. Wickham drew 1-1 with Crawley, and they're 2 points ahead of us. We stay, so it is 2
Yeah,
points.
I thought it must have been, I looked at it after we finished.
Yes.
Yes,
that's
they played
you
it later,
did,
didn't they?
Look, we stay third. Stockport beat Wigan 2-0 late-ish on, which was quite annoying. They stay 2 points behind us, but they have played 2 more games than us. Huddersfield beat Barnsley 2-1 and a fifth, 6 points back. Leyton Orient are now 6th, so they're on a bit of a charge. Great, ready for Tuesday.
It's always happens to us, doesn't it?
Leyton Orient are now 6th on 50 points after beating Lincoln 3-2. We're 8 points inside the playoffs at the moment. There's a few teams sort of just behind who are all on very similar points to Leyton Orient. Look, if you do want to get in touch with us, you can on Blue Sky X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or you can email us at wrexhamafc@gmail.com.
So, our next home game, our 31st game of the league this season, will be at the Stoke High Ras on Tuesday, the 18th of February at 19:45 or 7:45 p.m. Tickets are still available for this in the temporary stand. Obviously, this is one of the games that was postponed was it due to weather or due to FA Cup?
It was due to FA Cup, I think. Yes, it was FA Cup, yeah.
So obviously this game's postponed. So the tickets that were previously sold the first time round, I know that they are still valid.
Yes.
So obviously if you have a ticket, don't buy another one because you will have obviously entry. They play in red and white stripes. Their away shirt is grey and their third shirt is blue. They're obviously not going to be wearing red and white because we will be wearing our red. I have seen I quite like the blue shirt, but I think possibly they'll wear their away shirt. Their last game that we played them was a 0-0 draw on the 28th of September last year, and that was an away game, obviously.
Yeah.
And one of only 3 0-0 draws in our 30 games.
I know, that's mad, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
Their top scorer is Charlie Kelman, who has scored 8 goals so far this season. They're 3-2 winners against Lincoln on Saturday. They had a 92nd minute winner.
Yeah. 2-0 up.
Don't do that.
2-0 up. Lincoln brought it back to 2-2 and they scored a 92nd minute winner. So,
they are 6th on 50 points at the moment. They've won 15, they've drawn 5 and they've lost 10. They've won 4 of their last 5 away games. And they've ranked 8th in League One in away games. So obviously there's a table as it stands, and then you've got away form and home form.
Yeah, so they're 8th.
They're 8th at the moment. So predictiones.
This is going to be tough. This is.
I did a post this morning on the head-to-head stats.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. They are it's pretty like.
Yeah, they had a really
close.
bad start to the season. Leyton Orient did. I think they lost the opening 4 games of the season. They were down the bottom for a while. Knew they were a better team than what they were showing. And gradually, as the season's gone on, they've creeped their way up the table. We obviously struggled against them. It was 0-0. And they've creeped their way up the table, and they're now in the playoffs. I'm going to go for 2-0. I am. Do
you know what? I'm going to go 3-0.
Okay.
Because I just feel like it.
Okay, that's fine. On Saturday, we play Mansfield. That is our 31st league game of the season. We've obviously played Mansfield a few times in the last couple of years. They were in League Two with us. They came up at the same time. It's the 23rd of February. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's away at the One Call Stadium. It's got a capacity of 9,186. There was 1,698 tickets allocated to us. There are some left, but I don't think there's many.
Let's go.
They might have gone by the time that I'm actually saying this. They're 97 miles away, so it's roughly about 2 hours. They play in yellow. Away shirt is white and green. It's hard to describe. Third shirt is black. Our last game with them was a 1-0 win on the 9th of November. Top scorers Will Evans with 11 this season. They drew 3-3 with Blackpool on Saturday. They were 3-1 up. Blackpool scored 2 to make it 3-3. They're 15th at the moment on 38 points. They have won 11, drawn 5 and lost 14. They've in their last 8, they've lost 7 and drawn 1. So if they'd have lost on Saturday, they'd have lost their last 8 in a row, basically. So they've just managed to stop the rot on Saturday of this massive run of losses. But yeah, I'm going to go the same as I did for Leyton Orient. I'm going to go for 2-0.
Oh, I've just done that.
Have you? I'll change then. I'll go for 2-1. Yeah, I don't like it being the same.
No, you don't.
No. Weirdly, something we didn't mention before is the Northampton game.
Do you know what? I saw that you'd put the prediction down, and I was wondering. I thought, he's not going to mention it. He's not going to be Billy Big.
I got my prediction right. I got my prediction right for Northampton.
Tim Yockey said you cheated.
How did I cheat? I haven't got a DeLorean, Tim. But yeah, look.
Tim's always got my back over yours.
Yeah, I know. Everyone does, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Everyone does. So got my prediction right. I think we weren't sure about the table, were we?
We were 3-3.
We were level pegging.
And now we're 4-1. And now we're 4-3.
I am 1 ahead of Sian at the moment.
Boo!
There's still time.
I know there is.
There's still time. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat. So it's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. The other is on Thursday. That is at 7 p.m. and that is for men. If you want to get on them calls, go to the Wrexham AFC website, go to the community tab, then the health tab. Scroll to the bottom and that is where you will find Dragon Chat. If you are watching us on YouTube, all the details of how to get on them calls are down in the description. Or you can follow them on social media. They are at Dragon Chat WXMFC on X or at dragonchat.bsky.social on Blue Sky. So it is quiz time, Sian. I've made it a little bit easier this week, I think.
Okay, cool. I like it.
So you'll have to let me know if it is easier or not. But that we will see.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready at home? Are you all waiting patiently? Right. Question 1. Following Tuesday's victory against Bolton, we will now face Peterborough, a team we have already beaten 2-0 and 1-0 this season. Can you name one of the 3 goal scorers in them 2 victories? It's all gone quiet.
It's all gone quiet over there. Oh Christ. And Cannon.
Incorrect. I will let you have one more guess.
Ollie Rathbone.
Incorrect. No. Max Cleworth and Jack Marriott.
Oh, I was going to say Jack, but I couldn't remember if he was still injured or not.
When we played them away early in the season. And Stephen Fletcher scored the only goal when we beat them at home. So, question 2. On Saturday, during the game, I asked if Sixfields was the only EFL ground with a number in its name. You very rightly said, what about Mansfield? Because that's the One Call Stadium. And I was like, yeah, you're right, yeah. But there is actually one more. And that one more is Stoke. Okay? But what is Stoke's stadium's name? Is it the 32 Red Stadium? Is it the Bet365 Stadium? Is it the Capital One Stadium or is it the Three Mobile Stadium? I struggled like hell, you know, to get three companies that were possibly could be the name of grounds.
The first one, 32 Red.
The 32 Red Stadium. No, it's not.
It's Bet365.
It is the Bet365 Stadium, yes. Number 3. After Saturday's win, James McLean posted a childhood picture of which Wrexham player smiling with the caption, "How 3 Point Saturdays feel."
Andy Cannon.
It is Andy Cannon. Look, I think it's worthwhile. Look, if you're listening to this as a podcast, this doesn't help you. But if you're on YouTube, I'll just put it on the screen now. Because if you haven't seen it, it is so worth the look. Because you look at it and you go, Andy has not changed.
Apart from his hair's shorter.
Since he was about 10 years old by the looks of it.
He looks like he's in a school uniform and he's got like a maroon jumper, which is the same as what Alfie wears.
Yeah. But I think he's from Rochdale, so
I know he's not. I know he didn't go to a Welsh school, Welsh-speaking school.
We play Leyton Orient on Tuesday. Our original game with them was postponed due to their FA Cup match with Man City. But what was the score in that game?
It was... They definitely scored... Was it 3-2?
I will accept your answer when you can lock it in. Ding it in if you want. 3-2 to...
City, obviously.
To City. Why, obviously?
Because they're City, aren't they?
No, that's incorrect.
Is it 3-1?
It wasn't 3-1.
It was 2-1, wasn't it?
It was 2-1, yes. Yeah, if you keep shouting out scores, you will eventually get it right, though.
There's a lot of
you're punching your hand there, like going, I did have it. I know.
No, because I thought, 3. I thought 3-1. And I thought, no, 2-1. But then I thought 3-2. So.
Yeah, they did go 1-0 up.
First, they scored first.
From the halfway line, and they scored, and then City came back and scored 2. Yeah.
Atrocious.
So we play Mansfield on Saturday.
I'm bored now.
We beat them 1-0 at the Stoke Iras in November. But who scored the only goal of the game? Was it Ryan Barnett, Stephen Fletcher, Jack Marriott, or Ollie Palmer?
Ryan Barnett.
It was Ryan Barnett, yes. So it was the one where he was on the edge of the box, dead early on as well. It was about the 6th minute or something like that. Good, decent goal. And then I think from memory, the rest of the game was a little bit dull. But I can't remember now. But yes, so...
1 out of 5?
No, 2.
Oh, did I get 2?
You got 2.
Oh.
I'm not sure that's something to get excited about.
Hey, it's better than getting none, isn't it?
Yeah,
We only scored 2 goals at the game yesterday and won, so...
Yeah. Okay. I like that thinking. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
A win's a win, innit?
A win's a win. But you got 3 wrong. So did the wrongs win over the wins there? 3-2 to the wrongs. Look, thanks very much for joining us. We've gone a little bit longer than normal, but we did have a lot to talk about this week.
Ryan doesn't know when to stop.
That is true. And that's why we have to have a timer. It's just to tell us how long, just so I know, right, okay, I'm talking too much. So we have to have that. But yeah, there was a lot to get through this week. In all fairness, we had to get through all the comments. You know, we had 2 games that had been played.
You're still talking.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying we had 2 games that had been played. We had 2 games to look forward to. Lots of little talking points around it. You can't just, speed through just for the sake of it, can you?
Can't.
No.
You cannot.
You cannot. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope you have a great week. We hope Wrexham have a great week. 2 games come in. 2 big games, 1 at home, 1 away. We're
going to do our preview full-time reviews this week?
Yes, definitely there will be a pre-game and
the Leyton Orient game.
And a post-game for the Leyton Orient game. We are not at Mansfield, so there won't be one for that. So yeah, please join us, comment, we'll read them out, and we'll try and answer as many questions as we can on them ones. So yeah, hopefully we're sitting here next week, 6 points in the bag, pushing on to that second automatic promotion place. So enjoy your week and we'll see you then.
Bye. Bye.